What's up, everybody?
What's up?
We've renovated the old room.
We've made some changes.
Made some changes, as you can see.
Because of your patronage and your subscribers and and you funding our Patreon account.
All those comments that said the guy with the glasses need to shut up and just react.
Yep.
Here we are.
You got us a pool house.
We're in the big. We're big pimping now. So what's up? We are on vacation. We're on a bachelor party weekend.
Someone's
getting
married.
Could be me. The rumors. We're gonna have to check the E3 rumors to see if that's true or not.
Yeah.
So, welcome. Thought we would do a little different. We're at the poolside.
This
we're
is
here.
First.
Yeah, this is the first time we've done this.
Never thought we'd do a podcast by poolside.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm getting kind of used to it.
You already know me, Zach, aka DweeBros, aka the hostess with the mostest. We got.
This is Travis.
Hey, this is Jacob, guys.
It's the regulars, and we've got a newcomer.
Devin.
Have you ever been in any of the reaction videos or anything?
Been on Hangouts.
I think this is.
I've
been on Hangouts.
I've done
Hangout,
Hangouts, but I've
Yeah.
never.
No introductory needed. Then he was on one Hangout.
Yep.
So welcome, and then we've got Kenny Slapjack.
What's going on?
He's over there manning the controls.
Hey, leave a comment below if you think Kenny's really smart playing a Switch poolside.
Yeah.
Over the pool.
He's over the pool with the Switch. That's how we do it.
He's addicted.
Yeah, he can't put it down the whole time. So we're here. Some new stuff came out this month.
It's
New stuff happened.
Tell you what I'm not like one to ever say stuff should slow down. I just always feel like I'm always behind. I'm just saying. I never.
But only one that I knew of came out this month. Haven't played it yet, but it should be on my doorstep right now. Detroit.
Yep.
Detroit.
But you played kind of more of the demo.
I played the demo. The demo's fantastic. It's exactly what you got from E3. It's just fleshed out.
Yeah.
You can now control that character.
So I'm excited to play that.
It's on my doorstep too, so I'll be coming home to that. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition.
Oh, that came out?
That came out this month. I just received that. I was playing it a little bit actually inside.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It just runs better, and you get all the DLC.
I want to see what that looks like on the
The
Switch.
Wii version was so terrible. I mean, it was just awful.
What was the frame rate?
The frame rate, dude. I'm talking you run a 15.
About the game, just the performance.
Yeah, the game. I like hack and slash, especially now the fact I'm able to play it in a Hyrule Zelda type of fantasy world.
Yeah.
I'll take that every single time. I just think for me, I can't play a hack and slash in 15 frames per second. I don't think that's very doable. So,
But I played on Wii U. Yeah, it slowed down a little bit, but it's pretty fun.
yeah. So the Definitive Edition is nice because you get all the DLC. So you get Linkle, you'll get Young Link.
You get Linkle.
Hey, Girl Link, man.
You get Linkle.
Girl Link?
Yeah, it's Girl Link.
Oh.
It's
Call it Linkle.
yeah, it's called Linkle.
So
That's-
also announced new stuff with games. The Switch Online.
Yep, that is
What do you think?
just don't care if I'm being quite honest.
What all did that include?
That
Will you
was
recap
that was like
NES
I think
games?
it's $20 a year.
Yep.
But you can do family plans up to 8 people.
Oh, we have.
So we're all getting in on that, and it's going to be $2 a year.
Yeah.
To which, I'll pay that.
I'll play $2 for it.
Whereas PlayStation Plus is it costs like
$60.
$60 a year, and I
Yeah.
might not use it. But Nintendo gives you, and I guess every month they give you new Nintendo games with online, old NES, SNES with online.
they're old classic games.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wish they would do a full-on virtual console, but if they're not going to do that,
Yeah, so
'cause they're
I
stupid.
think that has been confirmed. That's not happening.
I mean,
guess.
this is better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For $3 a year,
$3
that's
a
like
year, yeah,
that's
that's
literally nothing.
Yeah.
Still early in the Switch. I just found out the Switch has Hulu. Literally an hour ago. So I'm telling you, Virtual Console
Does
is
it have
not.
Hulu?
Yeah,
It
it has
does,
Hulu.
It's the only multimedia app it has.
Remember I showed you because you didn't believe me.
Yeah, I didn't believe you.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is game changing. I might
It looks really good too.
Yeah,
like versus where I was doing all my media stuff at home, on my old PS3.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a world of difference, which is so funny because it's just streaming the exact same content.
I know it's
But
just funny.
It looks so much
Nintendo and multimedia platforms, they don't really mesh well.
I mean, what happened to Wii U when they had
They had
the TV? Remember, it was TVII.
Yeah.
You can connect your
And
TV to your
I was
Nintendo Wii.
going when I was moving in the process of moving. I found old advertisements and stuff because we used to go to the E3 Best Buy for Nintendo. They would let you play these new games and stuff. So I had all this old promo material I was like going through and throwing out. Well, one thing I found was the old Wii U thing had the TV promotion in there.
Yeah.
That never happened. It just said like coming November.
No, it
like,
worked.
It
Like,
did. You used to
the
hook up,
TV,
like,
the TV
Time Warner
and stuff.
cable and like
I
Well-
felt like that never came.
Well, because you could do like you could set favorite channels and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
you could. I think you actually control your DVR too.
Yeah,
But-
but it was like a very limited support. Like I could make it connect to my like cheap like Best Buy brand TV, but like I didn't even.
that was cool. I did make the Wii U gamepad connect to the TV, and I turned on
Yeah.
the TV with that.
Yeah.
If
That
we
was-
should do that in the living room, we don't have a TV remote.
Hey, now we know what to do.
Well, that'd be great.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I don't know. For me, I think the Wii U was everything the Switch aspired to be, and then the Switch was
Sure,
the polished
yeah.
version.
Yeah.
So I
So
think,
yeah, the Switch Online, $20 a year. We're doing the family plan, paying like $2 a
I
year.
didn't know about the family plan.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm doing
my
the.
gosh.
I think with all of us, we'll be fine.
Well, that'll be no
my biggest
Yeah.
thing is just
Nothing.
as long as we get good servers. Like I want like Smash Brothers coming out.
Yeah.
I
Let's figure that out.
want good
But hey,
online Smash.
but when Smash
Hold
Brothers
your
for Wii
breath.
U came out, that worked
It-
great,
it
and
worked
Mario
really
Kart
well.
worked great
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
so I'm
And
not,
that was in the time when like nobody could get online working. Like
No.
none of PlayStation and stuff was working good.
so
like,
I'm hopeful. I just
So I
Smash
think they'll-
Brothers
I think
Online
they'll
was a huge thing for me.
I think they'll do it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm excited to play these old NES games with multiplayer support.
I
That'd
mean,
be cool.
I got the NES
Well,
Classic.
That'd be neat.
And I mean, I've already played online with Zach on Splatoon 2 with
Yeah.
other Zach, with Zach Campbell. The way that they structured it is kind of weird. Like it's hard to navigate. But as far as actually playing, I've never dropped a game before. And
Yeah.
like
My biggest thing is with their online system is the friend code. I wish they just.
Can I ask a question? How does that local play work, where we're not connected physically, but we're able to play together? Because last night we got like 7 people
Yeah.
with all our individual Switches playing, but we don't have Wi-Fi. So how
Dude,
does that
I-
work?
because it's just like
But what are they connecting with? How are they connecting?
I'm
It
not
has to
sure
be
if
some form of Bluetooth.
See, this is where Nintendo is magic, and they'll do little magic
They'll do
things.
the craziest things.
They'll do these magic things where, like, we can have 7 people in the same room with no Wi-Fi and connect to
Well,
each other.
But they'll give you infrared controllers.
Yeah, but my own hand blocks my controller from connecting to my own Switch.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's Wi-Fi or what, because it like.
It can't be. We're not connected.
No, it's not.
But I'm saying like Wi-Fi, like point-to-point
Yeah,
connections.
Yeah. I
It
don't
Because
has to have some
Bluetooth would
sort
have
of,
to
like,
set up like it'd
wireless
take a long time probably.
connection, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely special.
They are ninjas.
I'm just coming this way. It's just easier for me.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm getting my butt handed to me by a freaking silver Lionel right now.
Silver Lionel update. Silver Lionel.
Silver lining.
Next up on games, we did have Rage 2 got introduced.
Oh yeah.
I just don't care for
Does
that.
anybody care about Rage 1?
No.
No.
Raise your hand.
Okay, Rage 2 is Rage 1, but cartoony, and there's like pink and yellow and all that colors.
Here's my thought on Rage. People complained, yeah, it was during
Yeah.
that time of like Fallout 3 and all this stuff was like brown. Every game was coming out with this brown, like ugly.
Brown was the color.
Yeah, it was just washed out, looked ugly.
Color of 20.
Didn't look fun.
2008, 2009.
And
Something like that.
and I was hearing like, oh, there's rumors, they're teasing something. It looks like Rage 2, and I was like, did anyone ask for this? It didn't sell well. No one cared. And I saw the video. Did you guys watch the gameplay?
I watched it, yeah.
Okay, I watched the gameplay too.
pretty fun.
I didn't see it.
It's pretty crazy.
I'm not too worried about it though.
So here's the thing with that. I thought the marketing and the trailer and like the colors and people like live action stuff
Yeah.
was so like
Ridiculous.
bombastic and over the top, and I went, this game will not be that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I just went, there's like live action people with pink hair, like ripping off of meat and eating meat and stuff, and I was like, they're going over the top because when you play the game, I don't think it'll be this bombastic.
I think you're exactly right. I think the one thing that sounds kind of cool is that they had one studio handle all the open world parts.
Yeah.
So they had Avalanche, I think, who did the Mad Max open world game.
Okay, so
they're
basically
handling
already made.
they're handling the open world, and then id is handling the shooting, the first person
Interesting.
shooting. So in that, it sounds kind of interesting, but even then, I bet it'll be like your typical sandbox game.
You know what's interesting
The
about
shooting did look pretty sweet, but
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's gonna be
that? I think
not
the trailer was
quite.
so over top that you're just
Yeah.
playing, kind of walking and
Yeah, those
I just
trailers
don't-
were absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I have to see some actual interesting game mechanics.
Yeah.
Is that a common thing for like different studios to
Not
work on
super
like?
common.
I
It
was gonna
happens.
say, that's
Well,
like-
they do
separate the-
outsource like some
Not
of the
so publicly.
assets.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
like for Battlefront 2, they had EA had several different studios, so like DICE handled like the typical like the first-person shooter sandbox, and then they had I think Criterion handle like the ship maneuvering.
They've been doing that for a
Yeah,
while.
I didn't
So
know that was a thing.
EA will do that sometimes.
Nintendo done it. When they partnered with Square to make Super Mario RPG, they outsourced. So like Square Enix handled all the like lore and they did all the designing, and then Nintendo stepped in. Hey, Nintendo did all of the writing.
So it happens, but sometimes it's not this public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like it's more behind closed doors, and there's one named developer, and then if you watch the credits, there's like other people that help.
Okay, interesting. I
But
did
this
not know
one,
that
they're
was a
like
thing.
straight up saying like, no, these guys did this big piece of the game. We did this.
So they're
and they're
either-
like different companies.
They're not
They're
confident
either
of
shoving blame,
Yeah.
or they're saying we have great
Someone's
teamwork.
tossing the hot
Yeah.
potato back and forth.
Speaking about,
But you know what's
Id
also
did such
I
a
didn't
good
know
job with Doom.
I didn't
so.
know
Yeah.
that it was the Avalanche was the ones that did Mad Max. Now you know what I'm thinking, that Mad Max is basically Rage.
Yeah.
So I wonder how much they just copy pasted and tried to
Yes.
get away with.
Oh yeah. I
Oh,
think
there's
you're-
copy paste.
Oh,
in
yeah,
There's
there.
a lot
for
of
sure.
copy
This
paste.
is kind of like a weird Rage Doom like mixing
that's-
together.
Yeah, that's gonna be
But
interesting.
I'll wait and see what the trailers. I'm not gonna like get me excited, but
Yeah.
if people
No.
play it and say, "Wow, this is really
this is the best
awesome,"
game.
I could see where the gameplay of Doom in some kind of an open world could be fun, but as far as I know, Mad Max, the best part of that was like constructing the vehicles. The actual open world wasn't that great.
Yeah.
It was just pretty.
Yeah.
So
Still not interested after
I
talking
don't
about
know.
it.
We'll see.
So if it boils down to that,
We'll see if I remember by the time it comes out.
Yeah.
that this
I'm
is
excited.
happening.
There's so much other stuff that this has to really kind of grab me. It has to do a lot to get there.
Yeah.
Well,
And not just
speaking of
having a person ripping off meat and with big
speaking
air.
of hopefuls and all that other stuff, Nintendo decided to file a little trademark. We might be getting the N64
Oh,
classic.
I think that's definitely
Hey,
happening. Yeah.
I can't wait to rip someone's head off of here in, like next year to
I'd
get
be-
this thing.
Dude, that's the one I'll really go after.
I,
But
That was
and what's interesting about the N64 is like they have some of the most classic genre-defining games: Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
But their library as a whole, that's it. I mean, like they have these major classics that stand test on. But really, I think the N64 Classic, I think that's all you would need
Yeah.
for as far as like that console.
I will be really upset if Donkey Kong 64 is not included.
They
Well,
could
good
also,
luck, because that's rare.
I
They could also
know.
do like
Oh,
they did with Star
that's
Fox 2 on the SNES one and figure out if there's something. That
Yeah, that was awesome.
And
Ooh,
they
They
could
did
go-
that.
Earthbound 64!
They could.
Earthbound 64 was
They
never
could throw
released!
something on it that technically never came out.
Yeah.
Oh
But
my
think about it,
gosh,
you
Earthbound
got. Let's really go
64.
down the list. You got Ocarina of Time. You definitely would get Super Mario 64,
Majora's
Mario
Mask.
Kart, Majora's Mask,
Mario
Super Smash
Parties.
Brothers, Mario Party, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Banjo Kazooie.
That's rare, too.
Those are all
Conker's
rare.
rare.
Rare's owned by Microsoft.
What's that?
Conkers is rare.
But it was on the N64. I
I-
bet they could get the rights. I mean, Castlevania
yeah.
isn't made by Nintendo, and it was on the.
Well, the issue-
it's not always first party on those
Yeah.
lists. It's not always
Yeah,
just
that's
first
true.
party.
But I think
Oh,
it's
yeah,
more of a
And
thing that's
Microsoft
specific
is
to-
very happy to give their
You
games
probably
away
get
these
maybe
days.
Perfect Dark. You'll get 007.
Yeah, you'll get 007, you'll get Perfect Dark. So right now we're already into 10, 11 games.
Yeah, they can. find it.
That's true.
I agree with you though. It doesn't have a super deep library, but what this means is you could buy this thing, and then that would be all you ever need
Yeah,
from
for
the
N64.
N64.
Yeah, you're good.
You would never need. To,
Let's see if Nintendo. All this stuff makes too much sense while we're talking right
Yeah.
now. So
Hey, we get three games:
That's
Mario
it.
Party, Smash,
Yeah, they're gonna, leave
Zelda.
off, they're gonna leave off Ocarina of Time or something.
Yeah,
You get Majora's Mask, but
I
not
would put it
Ocarina.
past them.
What if they made like an N64 Classic and you had to buy an N64 expansion pack Classic for that little red thing? You got to buy that classic piece too.
I'm just hopeful because I have the NES and I have the SNES. The SNES I've been playing Earthbound on, so
Yeah.
that's been really fun. I just know the N64 is like near and dear to my heart.
Yeah,
so,
give me those classics. I'll buy that. I'll drop
Yeah.
$100 on that.
Yeah,
or
I
more,
will
or
buy
more.
I
that.
was laughing really hard. There was on the site Reset Era. There was a thread that said somebody said, "Yeah, this N64 Classic. I think people need to realize it's not happening."
Yeah.
And after the trademark came out, and after all these, like I think last year there was even rumblings of
that-
it. It's like
that blew
that's
up.
gonna really age well
Yeah.
when he's wrong.
So that's not the only thing that Nintendo's been buying rights to sites for. I guess this wouldn't be Nintendo directly, but
No.
the Pokemon company.
So
Oh yeah, there was
They
that
bought,
kind of.
they
there
bought
was-
some
wait, what
sites. They bought
Yeah.
some site names.
yeah,
And
So
Pokemon
new
Go,
Pokemon's gonna come out, but they
Pokemon
bought,
Go Eevee,
No,
and
it was
Pokemon Go
Pokemon
Pikachu.
Let's Go Eevee, Pokemon
Let's
Let's
Go.
Go Pikachu.
Yeah.
Interesting.
people are
So
like,
we don't know what the next Pokemon mainline games are called, but those
Pokemon
might
Let's
be
Go?
it.
I'm ready for Pokemon to go nuts. I want them to Breath of the Wild Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's every single one has been the same kind
Now,
of thing.
here's the thing, though. My little brother has bought every Pokemon game that's ever came out, and I told him that that's what I want, and he was so upset because he said they've spent years perfecting this one style of game.
Yeah, it's
and
perfected.
he said that the hardcore audience will revolt. But,
I don't care.
But
You
I
can
don't
go
care.
play-
Hey, you know what? Let them throw their little Pokeballs at me. I want a whole new.
I haven't played one since Sapphire.
I
haven't beat
played
one since Sapphire. I'd love
X.
to come back, but I need it to be different.
I never played Pokemon as a kid, so like, if they were able to flip it on its head, because like I really just can't get into any of the
No,
Pokemon
it's
games
too,
now.
it's too like
But like,
I can't explain why I'm not attracted to it anymore.
First
When I
three
played
gens I love.
when I played X, I used to play all the time in college. I'd battle like my friends, but then they released Alpha, Omega, and
Sapphire.
yeah, and I was like, I love those games, but not enough to buy them again like that.
I play every other one. That's how I do it.
So then,
like,
did
I
you
don't
play?
need every
Did you
single-
play the new what's it called? Aloha, whatever
Ultra
crap.
Sun and Ultra Big.
Yeah, that's
No. Now see, now I used to do every other one, but they've done. When I saw freaking they had Executor as like a pineapple tree, I skipped Sun and Moon. I was just like that activated me. I was like, that's
Hey,
it.
I just can't like. The design of the Pokemon are getting so far out there. I mean,
I swear there's a pile of garbage.
there
I saw
there
it.
is.
I
There's
saw it.
keys. There's keys. There's literally just a thing of
sword
keys.
and a shield. Yeah, I can't keep it up.
Yeah.
Back then, I was like, oh, that's like the different form of I can't even
there's
think
just
of
so, there's so
I
many.
can't even think about the Pokemon right now because there's so
Yeah.
many of them. There's like over 1,000, 1,200
I mean, there's
Pokemon,
so many,
whatever.
just none of them are that memorable,
Hey,
other than like the first
Gen 1
two
and 2.
generations.
The idea of catching them all, like the catching them all mantra is gone. Like
Yeah.
like
Who
They need to
cares?
recapture that. I'd love them to do Breath of the Wild of it. Just
Yeah.
Gen 1 and 2, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And make it. And what I like about Pokemon Go is you actually have to like Pokemon Go. You have to like flick, and I think there's probably gonna be elements of maybe Pokemon Go. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but like I liked on Pokemon Go having like you have to flick the ball towards them. Like there's a little bit more
I
to
think
catching.
What's cool is that with the Switch, if I know this is almost humanly impossible, but like based on where your location is, if you have like Go, so as you're going, you're like, oh, this is like Pokemon Go, but on the Switch. But
Kinda
that's
put your,
probably not possible.
you have to get really close to it, kind of.
We're
checking. We're doing some. Okay, we're good then.
Our tech man's checking
Keep
out
that in
the
Hey, does
camera.
it say rec on it on the top?
I didn't see that.
We better see that.
It's
I pressed it. I saw rec before. Oh, we got B cam. Hold on.
B cam.
B
Kenny,
cam.
don't fall.
B cam.
I can't lose it. Kenny, I need you to go check the camera and tell me if it says wreck.
These people always tell me, hey, don't mess with them, and they won't mess with
Hey.
you. And that's always been broken for me because my dad, when I was little, said, stand still, they won't mess with you. And the bee stung me in my eye. So whenever anybody says, they won't bother you, this type of bee, I run like 300 miles per
Because what
hour.
I've heard is that they
Just say rec at the very top. R-E-C in red.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Guys, we're
Just
still
one
going.
to double check.
with bees, I've heard it's that they are looking to go in a path without being like obstructed.
Yeah.
It's like if you notice when they go to like a building,
Yeah.
they'll like just go back and forth because they're trying to get around it and they can't because they can't see like
Yeah. Bees, hey, listen, if you're watching, if bees are watching,
move out of their way.
listen, guys, you got to go around us. Sorry, you're a little
You're
efficient.
endangered. I know you're struggling. Go
Yeah,
around
we're with
us.
you.
Stay away from us.
Hashtag with the
Save the
bees.
bees. Save the
Hashtag
bees.
with the bees. But I'm gonna be anti-bees if you keep stinging me in the eye.
Bill Nye though, save the bees.
Bill Nye, the bee guy.
I think in terms of like video gaming in general, I am excited to announce I did beat God of War.
Oh, nice.
Wow, what a game! Like
Can you give a rating?
I would
on the scale?
put that like on a classic, like
Oh, wow.
the best game to come out on PlayStation 4 thus far.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a
Pretty
pretty high title.
That's the Jacob.
It is a
Check of
very
approval.
now to be fair, I have not played Uncharted 4, which I'm making my way to do now.
Yeah.
So I know Uncharted 4 is held pretty high. I can't include Last of Us because Last of Us Remastered
Yeah,
was kind
that
of
was last
it was
gen.
last gen. So
Last of Us.
What
last
else would be
gen.
in that conversation? Because I'm
Horizon?
not sure that I think Uncharted 4 is my favorite.
I don't know if it is. You also have
PS4.
Horizon. Horizon.
I
was
think
one
it's
of those-
for a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
There's also people would say Bloodborne probably.
Yeah.
It's always different, but I think for God of War
I
to
think that's
come
fair.
out and just completely reshape the franchise for the
Yeah.
future, just shows the power the PS4 had all along. That it just took so long for them to develop into, and it sucks because now the PS4 is at the end of its life, and we know the PS5 is gonna be on its way soon.
Dude, I want to know how you guys feel about this. I read a guy say that with how much he's enjoying his PS4 right now, the last thing he wants to hear about is a PS5. I saw a writer writing about that. He was like, I
literally just got one 2 weeks ago. So.
Yeah, he was like, how am I going to be getting a game the level of God of War, and then in a year we're going to get a new console?
Update on that. Breaking news alert. Newest thing I saw about that, because at first it seemed like there was one of the like presidents, whatever, Sony, they had like some earnings call or something, and he said like PS4 is at the end of life.
Yeah.
And that's when people were like, oh frick. But then I guess he clarified later and said, hey, within the next 3 years is what he said.
And
so
I
maybe
think,
that's like
I think
2021
it's important to
or
recognize
So-
end of life in business cycle terms does not mean, hey, the next 6 months it's over. End of life a lot of times means it's done growing. It's reached
Like
its
they're
peak.
ready for the next. Start working on the next.
Yeah,
one.
but like, so you have like your
So games are still gonna come out
you
for
have
it,
like your early adopters. It's always like a curve. You have like your early adopters and your mainstream. Then you hit your late adopters, right? What he's saying
Like Devin.
basically is,
Devin's a late
I think he's
adopter.
basically saying we're in our late adopter phase. We're done with early
We're not
adopters.
reaching markets anymore.
Yeah, we're getting people in the same markets we've already reached, and so that could be 1 to 3 years. So,
So for like Xbox, while they're still trying to get into those markets, they are still trying to evolve their product.
who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
They're in an inverted curve. I don't know what they're.
they're on the. They're still trying to find.
It excites me because God of War was such a great game, and they know what games are on the horizon, like Spider-Man, like Detroit. That's
dude.
at my doorstep.
I'm excited for Dreams.
Yeah, Dream.
Yeah, Dreams.
I've been seeing stuff about Dreams. That game looks awesome.
Which one is
man.
that one again?
It's like
They
the
showed it
Little
at
Big
E3,
Planet
and you get to
spiritual
like.
successor.
It's from the people of Little Big Planet, and you get to like
yeah, okay.
dual. It's wacky.
Yeah, I
Reviews-
remember that.
Reviews are coming out, or maybe it's previews.
Previews, yeah.
I saw previews coming out, and they were basically saying, "Yeah, this game is unbelievable. How much stuff is in here." And there's pre-built campaigns, and they're like, "This one takes 30 hours," and it's just like a thing that's.
I watched a video, Travis, and you might be interested in this, but they showed the music.
Yeah.
How you made? Did
I
you
heard
watch
about
that?
I did
Oh,
watch
I watched
my
that.
God.
I watched that and went.
How they
it. They
made
have a full DAW in there.
You can make your own music.
And you use like the motion control, the controller, and then like you have 4 different segments, and you can like start a beat over here and then make a new beat like on these panels.
I'm
It's
telling
like
you.
a full-fledged music you
Game
can make for your
creator.
game.
There's
That's
a sampler and
so-
everything.
Oh yes. I did see some of that.
So you guys,
Yeah.
I think definitely would have some fun with that.
Whoa,
but every Little Big Planet I played, that was the most fun I had was custom levels.
I think Dreams is my most anticipated right now. That or Spider-Man, because I don't know what Dreams is all going
Yeah.
to include.
yeah.
I just want to say, like, up and up on the PlayStation, even though like the markets are
it's
reached,
relentless.
the software's still coming and they know it.
It's
and
relentless.
they are doing everything right. Like, I'm glad I spent the money like they have on PlayStation.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
PlayStation fanboy pool right here.
So other than that, now that I'm on pure console, I've kind of shut my PC down for a little bit.
Yeah.
I have played Infamous First Light.
Oh,
How's
that?
it's
That was
alright.
that was like a launch or close to launch.
It was a
Close to
launch title. And I'm liking it. It's cool. I love the Infamous games. 1 and 2 was great. The third one, this one is kind of like, it's neat because you're adapting new powers as you go. So it's really cool. I'm really enjoying that. Playing Earthbound, which again is just, this is like my 3rd playthrough. So I really love that game. It's such a
Nice.
good game. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything. Oh, I started playing Fortnite.
Yeah, you were playing Fortnite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Man, it's just Call of Duty for 12-year-olds when I was 12. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
hold on.
one.
Do you get that feeling? Remember when you were younger and you got your first Call of Duty game? Like, Call of Duty Modern Warfare just dropped.
Modern Warfare 2 was my very first Call of Duty game.
I know what you're saying. This game is going to be looked back on from those kids that are growing up now.
That's my Call of
That's
Duty.
what you mean, right?
Okay.
It's like,
yeah.
Travis
I see
can
what you're
testify to
saying.
this.
I was
He
like,
walked into my room and I'm playing Call of Duty Black Ops 3 with my friend, and I'm like, this game sucks. And I'm like, I will never play this game ever again. This is the worst game. Like, they've ruined Call of Duty through and through.
I can't wait till we get Fortnite Black Ops.
I know. But for Fortnite, it's like, this is a genre-defining game.
Yeah.
PUBG just didn't take off the same way Fortnite did, even though
Which
PUBG's
is crazy
good.
because PUBG totally took off in an insane way.
I know.
I think the
did.
difference is PUBG wasn't on console, so it didn't hit the family
Yeah,
market.
and when it did come out on Xbox One, it didn't look. I mean, the frame rate. I guess people weren't happy with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like PUBG still was a smash hit on the PC, unrivaled by basically any other multiplayer game on PC.
Yeah.
But
Until-
Fortnite
yeah.
was on console too.
Yeah, Fortnite definitely took it
and
to
it
him.
struck with the Minecraft family crowd.
I think it's more
Yep.
accessible too.
Yeah,
It's
I
all
would agree.
It's free.
The weirdest thing with Fortnite is I specifically remember them announcing Fortnite at like E3 2011.
No, it was it's a
And
game.
it was a whole different game, and I remember hearing about that game, and it was like you defend against zombies.
But
Yeah.
that game's still out there.
You have to go
The
and
mode-
get it.
you can still buy regular Fortnite.
The
free-to-play
campaign.
version isn't Fortnite. It's Fortnite Battle Royale Edition.
Oh,
Regular
that's okay.
Regular Fortnite's still out
You
there.
can go out and buy it, and
It's a
I didn't
mod,
know that.
basically. It's a-
Oh, okay.
Here's what we want you to pay money for. But
Yeah.
everyone else jumped on the
Yeah.
free thing because it's a lot better.
The
But-
regular Fortnite's been out for years.
yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, Fortnite's fun. I think I'm starting to hit my stride where I'm like, oh, I'm learning. I'm finally the curve's away because I jumped in really late because I was like, I hate Fortnite. I love PUBG, but I finally like put that aside and I jumped in. So the curve I'm starting to get rid of. It's fun. I enjoy it. It's fun because it's free.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I still haven't played it. I've installed it on
I-
3 different devices.
So you were talking about God of War just now. Go back on that. So I did borrow that from good old Zach. He's not here, but
shout to Zach.
shouts out. I think I played like 6 hours or so of that. I think we're in the same spot. I think I think we're all neck and neck with each other.
We are.
But very, very beautiful game. It's the first game I'm playing on my 4K TV
Your 4K.
in
60.
HDR, full HDR, and man, that is like you definitely could tell like
Yeah.
how bright the image can get, how dark or whatever. But looks freaking great. Enjoying it. I'll have to play a little more to kind of give full kind of thoughts a little bit about it.
Yeah.
But I will say, me and Travis were talking earlier, this game is a perfect blend of Resident Evil 4, of like, because it's over the shoulder, just like Resident Evil 4, and you can't like go crazy, like you have to like plan your attacks, like how you're attacking, back up, you know what I mean, like back up, hit, and then like turn, make sure there's like arrows that like show up around him, like if there's a projectile, if there's an enemy behind him, it'll show an arrow, like
You
hey,
have
you
to
better
really,
you,
like, know
you better
your
start
surroundings.
watching out, and that is pretty cool battle system. I'm liking that so far. It's a perfect blend of that and Last of Us. It has those type of like very solemn moments, very subtle like stuff that's going on between
think-
Kratos and his son Atreus.
The other
Kratos.
thing that really just shocked me, it's a little thing, but the enemy animations, like the humanoid enemies, I see them in the distance, and the way they come running at me, I'm like, that looks like a man. That looks like a real life
It
person.
reminds me of Game of Thrones. The enemy, that one enemy, absolutely is like almost copy paste. It feels like
really?
the Frozen guys, the Frozen like.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I think what my highest praise could be, which was the singular shot camera. Where
Oh,
Yeah, it doesn't cut.
it's awesome because it's like
That's-
you never get sucked away from the story. You never have a moment where you see a black screen, so you never lose your train of thought. You're constantly
know
on
that,
this
didn't
ride.
Yeah, it never
and
cuts.
dude,
that
I'm
sounds
telling you,
really cool.
It's so cool because like there's some points when the camera's panning and you see their backs and you're like you don't know what's happening because the camera's busy panning and it's like oh what's about, and then just boom you see this big giant scene and you're like and you experience it the same way the character does.
That
It's kind of
takes
cool.
so much work to do to
Oh,
make a
yeah.
whole game.
So,
16,
definitely-
20 hours.
Definitely respect it. Definitely say the God of War was mastered its craft.
No, I was like, you're not seeing that.
Oh, you tried. I appreciate it.
Also,
But that's what I've been playing. I've been pretty involved lately. I know these past couple months I haven't been. This has been a good month in gaming. So
Yeah, not really for me. I haven't played a lot of games.
Come back over
I've-
here. It's like easier. Dude.
I've
Oh,
been
yeah,
playing.
sure,
I've
whatever
been
you
playing
want, bud.
Mario Kart. I finished 3-starring all the 150cc tracks. So.
nice.
Nice.
And,
Mirror and then 200.
Yeah, I'm working on Mirror now. So
Mirror is always so hard to me because my
Yeah,
body's just trained to not
everything
do
just
that
goes
way.
left instead of right. So I'm excited about that. I like that game a lot. It's kind of been a slow burn for me because I dropped $60 on it when it came out because everyone's like, Mario Kart 8 is so amazing. You should get Deluxe, and I bought it. And when you buy it, all the maps, everything's already unlocked, all the characters.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I bought this game, but there's no progression.
Yeah.
So I don't even really
It's
know.
great
what-
for people that bought it like me
Yeah.
on the Wii U because
Yeah.
I can just go directly
But
into
me,
what
I haven't
want.
played one
Yeah.
since the 64 days. It was just like, what do I even do? But I've slowly, more and more, gotten better at the game and played it more, and I really enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
That's cool.
I really enjoyed that one
Yeah.
because I've
Nice.
always been like a early adopter for Mario Kart. Like, always get it on launch and
Mario
stuff
Kart
like that.
64, all that stuff.
This
like-
is the only one that I haven't in a long time, just because I didn't have a Switch right at
did
launch.
you get 7?
Yeah.
So who all played 7? Because I did not play
On
7.
the DS?
Yeah.
On 3DS?
I played late.
I 100%ed that.
People said that
You
one was like
actually-
their favorite version.
It was one of the best ones I think in a long time.
because it introduced the paragliding.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was crazy. And then like people were like, "Oh, the tracks were amazing. The graphics are great." Like they
Yeah.
were like, "Mario Kart's this should have been out here a long time ago."
Yeah.
I know people that really like 7 on 3DS. I thought it was fine. I got it kind of late, and I love the DS version. The DS version
The original DS one.
was cool because you could do something called snaking, and that was when you could like start a drift in the middle of a track
Yeah.
and actually get the turbo.
And
It'll
there was-
work, and then
there
you
was
could
no
then you could
time
boost.
limit,
Yeah.
Where it's like you have to be in the drift for a certain amount of
Yeah.
time. You could just go did it like just hit the direction twice and you were
Yeah.
See, I was doing so the Wii version was my favorite version because they introduced wheelies, and wheelies were the cheapest thing.
the bikes, the
Dude, 'cause
motorcycles.
you sit there and you're like, why is everybody picking bikes? And then next thing you know, they're all doing wheelies because you get speed boosts.
Oh yeah.
So then
yeah.
you're wheelie, drift, wheelie, drift. You're like, and then so eventually we all got so good at it that I'm like, there's no way you can win using the cart. Like it's humanly impossible.
Yeah. Oh
now.
yeah. Not if you're playing online or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah.
But then there was a guy in my college who I went to named Jeremiah who just, I mean, my man was wheeling on like curves while drifting. I mean, it was a whole new thing. And Mario Kart Wii
Those chips.
Good.
was
Chip cam.
really cheap.
Very
it was really
good.
leveled. But it was
Yeah.
my favorite one because the maps were so much fun. The maps
It
were
did have a
awesome.
lot of creative maps.
See,
Yeah,
it's. Oh, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
I thought it was like one of the most selling games on the Wii too, as well, if I'm correct. It even got packed. No, on the
think so.
Smash.
It is. It is the highest.
Is it?
Mario Kart is like the highest selling game. In
So- 'cause
Nintendo's
it got-
library.
No, I'm saying Mario Kart Wii.
Yes.
Like
Because
specifically.
it got packaged with a console
all
as well.
all the Mario Kart games have been like their highest selling games.
I feel like I
More
heard
than any of
a
the mainline
list
Mario
differently that
games.
was a little. Maybe I don't know. I can just be
Smash
wrong.
is one of
That's-
the.
Fake news. I'm hearing fake
Mario
news.
Kart sells boatloads.
Oh, I know it. It always sells a
They
lot.
sell
I just didn't
absolute
know it was
gangbusters.
the.
I was
best.
shocked when I saw how much they sell.
It's insane, but the games
I'm
are
gonna
really
look that up
good. I mean, people love it because it's a competitive racing game that includes your favorite Mario characters, and everyone in the family can play it.
Yep.
Yeah.
My thing with Mario, I played the N64 one a lot as a kid. I didn't realize how bad I sucked at that.
You mind checking that again?
I didn't realize how bad I sucked at that game until recently because I didn't know you could drift in that game.
Yeah.
So I would just hard brake when I would go around corners. And but now I jumped. The next one I played was Mario Kart 8. So much has happened in between.
Which that's kind of a cool jump. to
Yeah,
have,
but
though.
I've really loved the drifting and stuff. My only complaint was with that blue shell.
Oh.
And I understand like it's to equalize to stop you from being in first. But they don't give you any kind of a way that you can try to get around it. And
Yeah.
outside of just using a mushroom or using the sound box, which don't drop when you're in first. And I just wish they would give you like one more way
Well,
to
you
try to
kind
get
of found
around
a
it.
fix somewhat.
Yeah, one thing that I've started doing is if it's on me and I have a ledge, I drive off the ledge because the recovery time
Yeah.
between getting off the ledge and it will still blow up over the track. So if someone's right behind you, they'll get blown
That's smart.
up. So the recovery time coming out from falling off the ledge, if you time it right, is faster than getting hit by the shell.
I was getting so angry with Mario Kart. Is it 8? Yeah, on the Wii U and stuff when it came out on Wii U, and just enraged. But then I finally had this moment of like zen of like none of this matters. Of like skill wise because like I think skill is involved, but there is so much chance and like equalizing that's in that game that I just went, okay, I'm not any mad. I don't get mad anymore playing because it's like, hey, this is a
Favorite thing to do.
kind of rolling the dice.
Know that you're not all,
Yeah, there's so much chance, and they're trying to get people.
Fall into last place. Grab a bullet bill. Work your way up back to third. And use the bullet bill. It's the greatest thing that ever happened to you. I'm telling you right now.
There's almost a strategy of like that kind of like it's called
Yeah.
rubber band AI.
Yeah.
Of like they'll kind of catch up to you, and it's that back and forth where it's like once I realize that it's like, hey, this is fun to pull out with friends,
What?
and
they did a great
fun.
thing by introducing 200cc because it finally came down to the fact that hey, you have to have skill. In
well, we
order
got
to win.
big B cam,
Oh, big B cam.
big B cam. Oh, if you actually guys just stay still, just let it land on your eye, it's actually really good. It's actually good. All right, well, I'm done talking about games. I'm ready to go into games that you don't play. Movies.
Oh, okay, I've been
You
playing
mean
Xenoblade.
Movie cam.
Movie
This is
cam.
good because I've watched a bunch of movies this month.
Me
dude.
too.
Holy crap. So I think if we can open up the conversation, I think we did our last podcast right before that night after we did the podcast. We went and saw Infinity War, didn't
we did.
So we won't dive into spoilers because you haven't seen Infinity War.
If you guys want to talk about spoilers,
We won't.
I can.
haven't
It's
seen
not
it.
too big.
We won't
No,
talk about
we're
spoilers.
fair to you.
Okay, spoiler-free Infinity War.
I can share how it
One
affected
bar?
me without saying anything about the story.
Should we go ahead and make the battery cam a thing?
No, let it keep going or whatever, and we'll let it go because I have these other two batteries.
So Infinity War. So I hadn't watched a Marvel.
Well, we've got like an intruder. Hold on.
What? Okay, love you too.
So Infinity War, yeah.
I hadn't watched a Marvel movie in a long time, and then I got invited to go see Thor Ragnarok recently.
You can pull that lens over. Hold on, you can keep talking.
Yeah.
Oh. Man, director's trying to...
Yeah, so I went and saw Thor Ragnarok, and it was really good. And then we went and saw Infinity War, and it was also really good.
Yay.
I'm just not... Go ahead.
There's a lot going on right now, guys. Okay. Hey, shout out to the greatest cameraman ever.
Kenny
Happy birthday,
Cam.
Jack Gabber.
Happy birthday. It is his birthday.
Hey, happy birthday.
Put happy birthday in the comments if
Yeah.
you're watching this. Sorry, I'm going to fix that
Feels
audio.
about your birthday.
So, in terms of Infinity War, I jumped into it. I skipped Black Panther. I skipped Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, I skipped like a whole phase two.
Yeah,
I didn't
so like
see any of it.
I was really sporadic with my Marvel watching because I was like, oh, I like Captain America over Iron Man. I was like, I really do. Some people were like, oh, wow, you're a weird man. Well, yeah, I like.
I don't think you're a weird man.
I love Captain America. So I decided to kind of like, I watched Infinity War and it made me decide I want to buckle in on this.
Yeah.
I'm like, this
Same.
universe is such a thrill, and they have done such a great job making these movies since 2008. Why am I not on board? So I went out and I bought every single Blu-ray DVD.
I got all his digital codes.
So,
Oh my
so
God.
Travis came home and I'm watching like Iron Man 3. I've been binge watching 4 movies. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Dude, got every single DVD I could ever imagine here."
Yeah.
And so I shared the digital codes. We've been kind of. I think you're on what?
Yeah, so I've watched all the way through Thor: The Dark World, all the way from the beginning.
And I just finished up Infinity War.
So what we should
Not Infinity War. I'm sorry.
you did Civil
Civil
War.
War.
So what we should do is the ones that we both saw. Let's just recap that phase 1 and then the first part of phase 2.
So
Well, and this, sorry, I'm
Because you
just,
could chime in on that.
I was
'cause
gonna
you've
say
seen
I'm
those.
interjecting too because you guys have seen Infinity War, but have skipped all the other ones. I
Yeah.
have seen. I can only think of one other Marvel. I didn't see Dark World, Thor: Dark World. Other than that, I've seen every other
There you go.
Marvel
So you-
movie that's
so
come
you're
out.
involved. You're like
So
in
like I
this.
can see. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
And when I watched the phase 1, it was very introductory based, and I mean I can tell right now like you can skip the Hulk. That movie sucked.
I didn't watch. That's the only one I didn't watch.
Well,
is-
Yeah, because both of the Hulk, they did the first Hulk movie, then they did was it the Incredible,
Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
With what's his name? The
Edward
orange
Norton.
Yeah,
the
Ed Norton.
villain.
Oh,
Not
Well,
Armageddon.
let's start from the beginning though. 'Cause
Yeah,
I-
let's go
Iron
back.
Man was the first one.
So Iron Man came out in 2008,
That was
and
good.
Okay, how about we do this? What are you doing? Like, kind of saying how you think about each of them?
Yeah,
just
through
Okay,
the first 6.
1 through 5 of each of the movies you saw. Here we go.
1 through 5.
like rating.
Rating.
Oh
1 through 5
God.
stars. All right, Iron Man.
Okay, so Iron Man.
I saw Iron Man. 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I would probably be in like the 4 out of 5 range on
Surprising.
Iron Man.
I'd give that one a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
I'd say for 2008, I would also give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, next one.
So the next movie that came out was in
Incredible Hulk.
Incredible Hulk. That'd be a half out of 5.
That would be.
Didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
2. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it, but it was.
I will poo all over the Hulk. That movie is terrible. You had to replace the actor. So then
And he said not's good.
Next was Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2 was a step down in my opinion. I'd probably give that a 3 out of 5.
I'd give it a 3 out of 5 also. I think it gets a lot of hate, but it
Yeah.
wasn't awful.
Which-
It wasn't terrible.
That's
sorry,
one of the guy with the whips.
Whip guy.
I like that one.
Yeah, I thought it was
I
good.
give it at least a 3 at least.
You get a 3. All right.
So after Iron Man
Those-
2,
Then you got Thor.
you got Thor. Thor was I like the development of the
We
character.
still doing good? Kenny?
I would be a 3 out of 5 for Thor.
I think Thor. I think Thor 1 is kind of butt. It's got okay things. I give it like a 2.5 out of 5.
It was for Natalie Portman.
And there's one thing about that movie that is aged so poorly. Everything is shot at a Dutch angle, and it makes me so mad because it's like they're showing like a street, and it's like this, and I'm like, dude, God, who shot this movie? And it's like a needless time. So it gets a 2.5 because of the Dutch angles.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Well, you didn't
sorry.
get it.
I was gonna say I give it a 2 because when I watched it, I remember it like thinking, yeah, this is a good movie, but I remember nothing from it, and it was not memorable.
Also,
at all.
Chris Hemsworth had bleached eyebrows in that movie. That's so stupid.
So then you had it was
Then
Cap.
it was
Captain America. I would probably give a 4 out of 5.
I also would give that movie a 4 out of 5. I got a soft spot in my heart for that movie.
Yeah,
I love
Spartan heart.
I love Steve Rogers. He's such an honest, kind-hearted person.
He
I like
is.
that it's a World War II movie because I love World War II. So 4
4
out of 5.
See, you guys might not like me. I give it a 2.
Oh!
I really didn't care for
Cut
it.
him out.
Had the red
Kenny, just
skull,
cut him
had,
out.
Like,
Agent
was-
Carter,
yeah.
Agent Peggy Carter.
Carter.
She's a hottie.
It had cool moments, but I think I was distracted by like the production quality in that one seemed so much
it's this
lower.
World War II film.
Anything specific?
Like I remember young Steve Rogers.
Oh.
Because it was like Chris Evans, but they were trying to make him like real tiny and scrawny and like
I don't know
That
why
just-
that worked for me, but yeah.
it did not work
Hey,
for me.
you,
It looks
at
a little-
You
all.
notice like the scrawny. Like,
It
you
looks a little
noticed-
Benjamin Button.
It was really. I just couldn't
I-
get past that. And like, there were a
Gotcha.
few other things that were just low budget to me.
Gotcha.
That just like, I don't know. I had a hard time moving past it, and maybe
Cool.
I know
Okay.
like superficial,
That
but
makes
that's
So next you have Iron Man.
Did you see First Avenger?
First Avenger?
No,
Captain America. The first.
I don't remember anything about it. I need to rewatch that, honestly. So
alright.
I can't give
Yeah,
a...
Next is The Avengers.
No, it's I thought it was. Oh yeah, you're right. It is
The Avengers.
All right, I give that a question mark out of 5 because I walked out of it. It was at the drive-in, and it was the second movie, so it was going into like 2 in the morning, and we just left. So I need to give that more of a fair shot.
For the fact that it was original as time, I would give it a 5 out of 5.
Whoa.
The first time I
I
watched
thought they were
it,
Godfather.
the second time I watched it, it definitely would be like a 4 out of 5 because like I started to be able to pick apart things. So the first time I watched it, it's the first time ever you had anything like it. So it was amazing. But the second time, it's like, there's some poor qualities here and there. So.
The Avengers barely gets a 3 out of 5 for me. I have never liked that movie.
2.5.
I have never liked that movie. I get it. I would make it a fresh movie just because it is unique and they had to bring these different guys together. I don't know. I like the bad guy. I like the heroes.
I like
the whole
Loki.
movie just feels so like random and
Rushed, maybe.
Yeah, and then there's these big dumb looking aliens flying all over New York. I don't find it as entertaining as most other people.
That's understandable.
I give it. I think I would probably give it like a 3.5. Like I think it's a good movie. I really do. But I saw it when it like very very first came out. Like I didn't give any time. So like I agree. Like there were some weird spots in it where it was like, this is like you're in the middle of this huge fight scene. This isn't like you shouldn't be throwing in humor like slapstick.
I like that.
in the middle of these huge fight scenes.
It's
Like
just like I think it shows like their character, and I think it shows like they're so confident in themselves. It's like, they crack a joke.
yeah, but it's like
is.
they
I
built
don't
up to
mind.
this huge fight, and then they're just like, oh, but actually I'm better than you, so I'm gonna go like I'm throwing you around.
I just kind of thought it was goofy.
Yeah, it was a little.
Okay, what's
so
next?
Iron Man 3. I think Iron Man 3 is the pinnacle of the Iron Man series, so I'm actually around the 4 or 5 because it sets up Tony Stark's tone for the rest of the phases.
What do you think?
That's true.
I think Iron Man 3 is a big goofy crock of nonsense. I give that movie like a I'll give it a 2.9 out of 5.
2.9.
Because I wanted to like it. I like the Mandarin. I kind of like what they did. I like how he was kind of like this weird terrorist guy. But man, the thing that ruins that movie, I love Tony Stark. I love Tony Stark working with the kid. I love how he's in the middle of the country.
Okay.
The thing that kills me with that movie is the villain is the dumbest.
The villain sucks.
Charlie's Angels looking mother effer, and they've got like these fire guys that are exploding, and it is a bunch of nonsense. I hate the fire guys. And then Pepper
Iron Man 3
Potts
for
falls
you.
in the fire, and she's a fire woman.
I give it 3. Yeah, I give it 3 because I didn't hate it. There were some weird parts, but they took a chance, which superhero movies don't always do that often.
Yeah.
And so like some of the parts, like the showing the really like emotional like parts, like you said, setting up
Yeah.
Tony Stark for the rest of the movies. Like I really, really enjoyed those. Then all the crazy amount of Iron Man suits at the end was like, that's okay. So I give it at least a 3.
It just shows
maybe even a 4.
how developed he went into his habit. I think we need to go to battery cam for a minute and then come back to this. Battery cam, hope you enjoyed it.
We fixed it.
Get out alive.
All right.
What
What do you want to say? Let's go through lightning round because how many more movies we got to talk
I've
about?
only seen up to like another 3.
Yeah, so we can finish.
Okay, lightning round.
I've only seen one more.
Lightning round. Here we go to wrap up.
World.
All right, Thor: The Dark World.
I give Thor: The Dark World a 3 out of 5. I don't know why people hate on it so much. It's kind of but it's pretty good.
It's kind of bad, but it's kind of good.
I think that's the only Marvel
seen it.
Cinematic Universe one I haven't seen.
Oh, wow.
I think I've seen.
Thought you were a fan. Not. I guess not anymore.
I would definitely be in the 3 out of 5 range for Thor: The Dark World. It was good. I think it was better than the first Thor. It just wasn't like. Thor's just not interesting enough, I guess. I guess that's weird.
Yeah.
I like Thor. I don't know. It was weird. So yeah, Thor: Dark World.
Cool.
Loki stuff in that one too.
Heavy Loki. So then after that, you have
Winter Soldier, which I haven't
Winter
seen.
Soldier. So I've watched that one. Have you watched that one, Devin?
Yep.
We'll quickly power through these. That one is one of my favorite Captain America movies. That's a 5 out of 5 for me.
I'm next to that one.
I think that might be also a 5. I think it's
Wow.
Civil
Civil Wars is pretty much all around good.
Essentially,
That's
it's
Winter
like
Soldier.
It's,
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
yeah, Winter Soldier is. It's like a mini Avengers movie,
Yeah.
but it's done like
Winter Soldier is?
Yeah. Because it includes
so maybe we shouldn't say too much about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Let's not say
you'll
too much
get there.
about it.
You'll start to see.
It
Captain
takes a
America-
tone that like I feel like my complaint with the first Avengers movie is like it built up to this like big thing and then it's like, oh, but we're overpowered and we can like ha ha ha, this is funny. Like
Yeah.
I felt like there was risk involved.
Yeah,
in
there
Winter
was.
Soldier, and
So
it was
so after Winter Soldier,
good.
we had
This is where I start getting lost.
yeah. So I'm trying to remember.
Lightning round. Just give a. You know what,
I think
just give a
Civil
rating.
War. Is it Civil War after?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Which I have
10
seen.
out of 10.
That one is a phenomenal movie. That one's
Yeah.
actually a 5 out of 5 for me as well.
I give that one a 4.5 out of 5. It's close to perfect.
Cool.
yeah. I also give that one a 5.
Haven't seen them yet.
So then
I
after
love that
Guardians,
movie.
it's Civil, right?
Civil
I think we're pretty close.
I think you get to Civil
Yeah,
War.
so Civil War for me is the perfect culmination of what Marvel was looking for. So that's a 5.
No, it's not Civil. You got Avengers 2.
Oh,
we
Age,
completely skipped
hey,
over-
Ultron.
And you got Ant-Man.
Completely skipped
Okay.
over
Jesus, there's
Okay,
so
so-
many of these.
okay, Age of Ultron, I did not like very much at all. So that one's probably like a 2.5 out of 5.
I
seen
give it a 3. Again, like another like solid. Like it's not a bad movie. It had less of the silliness that some of the earlier.
Yeah.
movies
I hope I
did,
like it better than Avengers 1 because
But
I haven't
you,
seen
if you don't,
You better stop now.
it's not perfect, but it is better than the first one.
Ant-
Do you
Man-
want to jump in on this?
I liked Age of Ultron. I'm chomping at the bit for Civil War.
Okay.
Okay.
Civil
So
War.
Ant-Man is a 3 out of 5. It's like you can play it for me.
Yeah, that's
Didn't
kind
see
of.
it.
I think I might even go 2. Everyone I know loves that Ant-Man movie, and I thought it was like just an average superhero. Like
Man, I had zero interest to see that one. I don't know.
I
Like,
didn't have. essentially I only watched it because all
They're
my
starting
that does not sound like a fun
To
time.
the extended universe, and now it's like, do I care about Captain Marvel? But nonetheless,
All right.
Civil War.
They finally got my boy Underoos back.
He's back. Underoos.
Spider-Man making his MCU debut was awesome.
yeah, he was in
not
that
only
one.
that, but
Okay.
it was hard to, like, you have Team Cap versus Team Iron Man, and they're both like heroes. They're both like looked up to,
Yeah.
and it's hard to decide who's right and who's wrong. I guess
I mean,
for me, it all depends on like what your view on
You were
authority
Team
is.
Iron Man, weren't you?
Huh?
You were Team Iron Man.
I was Team
thought.
Cap all the way.
What's your view on authority? Put in the comments.
Well, Team Cap is just like they don't want to sign this treaty, this accord thing, and Team Iron Man they want to, and I understand why like the government wants them to, but frick 'em, I'm a superhero.
Frick 'em,
I'm not
I'm a
signing your
superhero.
dang thing. So it
That's
sucks
how I
that-
feel. I'm a Superman. I don't sign any of my documents.
Spider-Man's on the wrong team for that one, but
Civil War is a solid 4.5 out of 5.
What was your rating?
I give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
It definitely sets up the rest of the
Didn't see it,
tone.
didn't see it.
Didn't see it.
I'll stick with a 4.5 too.
Okay.
It follows very closely to Winter Soldier.
Great.
Captain
Okay.
America's got the message.
Okay,
What do we got next?
Actually,
Now
we're done.
Spider-Man?
Okay.
Spider-Man
Oh yeah,
Homecoming.
Spider-Man. Okay, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Okay, yeah,
10 out of
this
10.
is okay. So, Spider-Man: Homecoming is like the 5 out of 5. It's the
Yeah.
perfect upbringing of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man Homecoming is a 5 out of 5.
5
That
out of
movie
5.
is great.
My
It's
favorite,
the
my
best
favorite
Spider-Man
Peter
movie.
That
Parker.
movie is fantastic. The villain is great.
Hey, every Spider-Man
everything's
before
great.
that can be deleted.
nice.
I loved it. 5 out of
5.
5.
Why am I even asking him? He's a Spider-Man nut.
Score.
It's absolutely 5 out of 5.
So, other than that, we'll give you guys an update on the rest of them once we actually get caught up all the way. So,
okay, and then
That's all of them,
Well, we
right?
can talk. Well,
Infinity-
there's Doctor
Guardians
Strange,
2.
Oh, Doctor
Guardians
Strange.
2.
but we want to get to like.
But Infinity War now. What did you give Infinity War out of 5?
5 out of 5. 6 out of 5 if I could.
whoa.
What about you, Jake?
Infinity War is the only movie in my entire life I've seen twice in some theaters.
Honestly, I feel bad. I feel bad that I gave Spider-Man a 5 out of 5 because it leaves nothing left for Infinity War.
I
So
know.
I'll give Infinity War a 5.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. We're
I
going
haven't
War
seen it
was-
yet. That's
Infinity-
the second
Infinity
movie that I
War
haven't seen.
was incredible.
It was phenomenal.
legitimately
Okay.
incredible.
We skipped
I'm look-
like Thor Ragnarok.
It's fine.
I get
Oh, Thor Ragnarok!
I
That's
give
a
that a
4.5 out of 5.
Hey,
That's
Thor!
a really
I have
good
not
one.
seen it. Blah 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 blah.
Thor
blah.
Ragnarok is
Just
great.
scores.
Thor
All
Ragnarok
right, we might
is
be
like-
back next month with the rest.
Doctor Strange 5 out of 5.
Zach,
Thor
sounds like you need to
Ragnarok,
watch these
5 out of
movies.
I will watch these and I will give my own rundown someday when I get to them.
Next year.
All right, on my side of movies, I'll get out of this Marvel side. We got to get back to I want to see humans again, not superheroes. I watched the movie Annihilation.
Oh, yep.
Annihilation featuring Natalie Portman. Interesting thing I didn't know till afterwards. This came out on Netflix everywhere except for US.
Yeah.
You could just watch it
Interesting.
in different countries.
I don't know
They
anything
didn't
about
put
this
it in
movie.
the theaters, other places. I watched
So-
the opening weekend.
So, really, really freaking loved Annihilation. I give that a 4 out of 5 on my scale. That just had everything for sci-fi wise, what that movie was doing. When it got to the end, because usually what happens every sci-fi movie, for me personally, when I go to every sci-fi movie, they build up this awesome thing or this monster or this alien or something happens, and then it fizzles out. I feel like every sci-fi movie I ever see kind of fizzles out on the concept. I feel like if you have a cool concept or something, go to the extreme. Like, go to the most nuts thing with that thing. And that's what I felt like Annihilation did. By the end, you're in this different, like where they take something, like the thing in the movie or whatever, they take it to its farthest potential. I was having fun from beginning to end. Way out there kind of movie. And some cool stuff that happens in it. Very cool sci-fi. Very fun, and I freaking loved the aesthetics to it. It was just really cool. Kind of reminded me of Last of Us again. I just keep mentioning that at times. In it.
I saw that when it came out, so I saw it a while ago. I don't think I talked about it on the podcast, but that movie to me, I agree with you. Like, they really went all out with their concept at the end. And I loved all of that stuff. I loved the world. I loved kind of like what was going on in this thing.
Yeah.
I can't really describe it, or else it would kind of ruin it. I loved kind of some of that stuff. What fell through for me was it didn't tie into any larger themes the way I would have wanted it to.
Oh, I disagree.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. I think they tried to do some of that groundwork, but
Do you mind if I spoil Annihilation? Are you gonna watch it, Kenny?
No,
Jacob?
it tied into
There
the
you go for it. I don't
it
even
tied
know
into
what
the
movie it was.
cancer.
Okay.
It tied into the cancer thing. I'm not saying maybe it's not that it didn't tie in any themes.
Well,
I just thought it wasn't as well executed. Especially, I thought a lot of the dialogue between the women was just really cringy. It didn't work.
I
for me.
disagree. Sorry. Here's why.
Sorry. Keep on.
There's one part in the movie when okay, spoiler, if you want to watch this movie, flip to the, I don't know, scrub the bottom, whatever they call it. Go to the next part. There's one part in the movie where basically what's going on is they're in this like cloud part, and in this part of the world there's this big giant cloud they're going into that showed up.
A bubble.
Yeah, it's like a bubble. They showed up. They go in there, they start sending scientist people in, and nobody comes out. Well, they go in there, and what the scientists these women discover is that, like, atoms and like all the DNA and stuff is being refracted. Yes. Everything's getting fricked up. Like there's crocodiles that are like albino that are all fricked up, and
plant
like
life growing out of humans.
There's plant. So at one part in the movie, one of the girls, because everybody's DNA is getting all fricked up, it like you start to see like leaves come out of one of the girls, and one really cool part is like she's starting to like turn, and you see all of these people made out of flowers, and they're like, wait a second, like what is it? Like flowers are actually growing into human shape, and like plants are becoming like people. What's going on? And the girl starts turning a flower, and Natalie Portman's following, like, what the frick's going on with you? Like, what's going on? And she's starting to grow into a plant. But one really cool line, I don't know, just something like kind of just chew on and stuff, is she's like, she looks down, she's like, hey, captain or whatever, the leader of the women or whatever, she's like, she's wanting to like, you know, face it, and you're wanting to like take it down, and like I'm just wanting to accept it and stuff. And she walks off into this distance, and like you assume, okay, she's become a plant or something. That for me was just such a cool, subtle moment you don't see in a lot of movies, because it kind of was like she's talking about death. You know what I mean? Like that's how I took it, was like she's talking about death. Like you're wanting to fight it, she's wanting to face it, whatever, but I'm wanting to accept it. And then she just accepts death.
That was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
Not what I'm talking about. The movie is about cancer.
Yeah.
So what is cancer? Cancer is when cells start to multiply and become this weird thing that is really beautiful, but it's also really dangerous.
Yeah.
And so the movie, the idea was like, what if the Earth got cancer?
Yeah.
That is what the movie is this thing lands on Earth, and it's like replicating, and it's doubling the people. And also, I thought all that stuff was great. What let the movie down to me was like the way the characters would talk to each other. There's a scene early in the movie where they're riding around in canoes, and they're like, Natalie Portman's riding with this other girl in the canoe, and she's like, so what's with the crew? And she's like, look at her. If you look under her sleeves, she's cutting. We all have to deal with this in some way. And then her daughter died. We all have to deal with our pain in some way. Like, she just rattles off, and it's like the most clunky, stupid exposition. Like, show me, don't tell me, don't have a canoe ride where you go through the whole crew. And they literally lay out, like, who the person, they tell you, this is who they are, this is what happened in their past, this is how they deal with it. And then we all got to deal with our demons in some way. Like, I just thought the writing was so clunky.
I get that.
My favorite parts were, like, the animals and, like, those themes. And, like, Natalie Portman.
I think that's what I was looking for in this movie. I took this movie as, like, the moments in this movie were awesome.
My context was I went and saw it opening weekend. People said this is 2001: A Space Odyssey level.
Yeah,
The writing in this movie was so on the nose, like with the way that characters talk to each other, that I just like. I do see the 2001: Space Odyssey like comparisons in that like the moments and like kind of the set pieces and like what was happening. Crazy. Like there's a part when the bear is a crazy part because. For two things. One of the girls gets mad and like ties up the other girls and says like, you said this or whatever, and yes, he starts to get paranoid. But here's what happens. I thought this was cool with all the DNA stuff's getting fricked up. She goes, you said that this person got attacked by a bear because one of them got like eaten by a bear, like got one of them. Yeah. But the girl says, you said that, but me and this other person never saw the bear. Yeah. And I thought that was cool, because I was just like, all the DNA is getting fricked up. It's like, what did kill them? But then the bear does show up. But what happens is the bear comes around, and instead of a growl, it opens the mouth, and the last you hear the screams of the girl. So it's this mutilated, like, help. And you hear that come out of the bear, and it's like, that is fricked up. And the design of the bear. So at the end, basically, like I don't want to talk about the end, but like watch it if you're interested. And I just spoiled most of it, but the ending is like it goes nuts and like I don't know. I just love all that stuff. To me, it's a movie I don't know how to put a number to, but I know it's not. I don't think it's like a classic, but it's really cool.
Sure, I don't think. Yeah.
But like I had issues with it, but I thought it was worth watching.
The set pieces, anything that's like set pieces and moments for me. There's a moment when she gets to the lighthouse at the very end. And you see all these like spines of these humans sticking out of the beach and the sand and skulls, and they never explain that. And that's the stuff I miss in movies, because everything in movies is like, this is why this is here, and this is why we did this. Sometimes don't even tell me. Yeah. Like that's why I love it. That's specifically sci-fi. I want that to be done.
Me of a Neil Breen movie. Just like random things.
Like that kind of stuff reminded me of like Lost, and like why is there a skeleton in here? Why is this down here? And what's going on? Like where's these people come from? All that stuff was cool. So yeah, Annihilation. I watched a movie called Revenge. Have you heard of the movie Revenge?
No.
It's a French film that came out last year. It just came out here. Very extremely like artsy, and the cinematography is beautiful in it. But the premise of the movie is very kind of deep and very kind of like Me Too movement, kind of like involved. That's kind of like the whole movie is kind of like that. But it's about this girl comes up to stay with her boyfriend at the time. He's married, whatever. You know, perfect bachelor party kind of like situation. But the girl actually ends up getting raped by one of the men, and it's the friend or whatever, and you assume like, oh, he's gonna get so mad and whatever, but he doesn't really care, and ends up like pushing like chasing out like, hey, you're gonna be okay with this or whatever to the girl, and she ends up like wanting to run away, and they're in this like desert, like they're in this like holiday house or whatever in the middle of this desert. They had to give a helicopter to get him there, and she runs off. And they catch her or whatever towards this edge or whatever, and he's like, hey, we'll leave right now, I'm sorry this happened, I get it or whatever. And he like kicks her off the thing. She falls down and like gets hurt or whatever. And the movie is her like getting back, like they're like, we have to go and like finish the job, or like we'll get the body and we'll like dispose of it. Comes back, the body's not there, she's able to like get out, and the movie is like her hunting them down and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And it is awesome. That movie was rad. Like it's called Revenge. Absolutely check out. The premise is just really cool. A lot of Me Too stuff in it, but it's awesome. It is rad.
Was it like an action movie? Or
action. It's a revenge thriller.
I thought it was gonna be like a drama.
Revenge thriller.
Okay.
But awesome movie. Last one I saw, and we'll do a spoiler free because you're here. Review of it. Solo. A Star Wars story. So we went, and as a big group, except Evan, who wasn't in town yet, saw Solo the other night, or 2 nights ago. Opening night. Yeah. So we'll start with Kenny, or we'll just what do we think? I say we give a rating, and then we'll go drill down from there.
Okay.
Let's give a rating and drill down from there.
I give it a 4 out of 5. It was a really good movie outside of being based in the Star Wars universe. I thought it was like, it just had a cool plot and had a cool plot like twist, and I really enjoyed it. There were some goofy things. That's why I knock off the 1, because there were some things that were just like that. You didn't need to explain that.
Yeah.
That was kind of cheesy. You know, certain things that just don't necessarily make 100% sense, and just seem like they kind of threw it in there to make something cool. I did really enjoy it, though, a lot more than I thought I was. I had low expectations for it because of all the chaos and the director switch and, and the recasting and everything like that, but I did end up enjoying it. It was pretty good.
Cool.
I would be like a 3 out of 5. It's a good movie. I would never sit there and say it's not. I enjoy it. It's definitely like way better than the first 3 episodes. I just want to say, I don't know. It was like, it's hard to explain because I'm so fresh out of it. I just know like it's a good movie.
Yeah,
I can just say that.
I think for me, I agree with everything you said, Kenny, as far as what you liked. To me, it was a 4.5 out of 5. And the reason why is because I agree it's just a good movie. It's not like an all-time great or anything. But the thing that gives it that extra half is I love expanding the Star Wars universe and learning about more planets or learning just more things. And I thought this movie proved that they can do a movie that's not about the rebellion versus the Empire. The Empire in this movie are like the cops. And I just thought that was cool. As someone who loves Knights of the Old Republic, as someone who likes that universe, but it seems like the movies are always just the main story. I thought it was cool that they finally really did just like a regular story in that universe. And I love the guy who played Han. I think he did a great job.
He did a really good
job. And I love the whole cast. And I really, truly loved the story. I wasn't sure what to expect because a lot of the reviews were kind of mixed, but I thought the story and the motivation of the characters made sense the whole way through. And I thought it was cool. Like, I love a movie where the character has to go through some stuff and then they grow. And I felt like that happened in this movie. So I really liked it.
I can see that being the case, too. I could be like, I guess when I say I give it a 3, I'm just saying there was nothing wrong with it. There was not
Sure.
a thing I could sit there and say like, "Hey, this was bad."
That was the other thing that I really liked about this movie was a lot of the newer Star Wars movies have a lot of that Marvel humor, like your mom jokes in The Last Jedi, and like poo-poo jokes or whatever. This movie didn't have any of that. This had like classic Star Wars humor. There was maybe one little thing that I was like, okay, that's kind of modern.
It's gonna be an interesting conversation.
But other than that, I felt like it was a lot of classic Star Wars humor.
I
So
want to kind of touch on something you said, like the thing about this is a mild spoiler. It's not going to give away any of the plot, really. All the other movies, like including Rogue One, had major like galactical implications as far as like they're getting the plans to the Death Star. If this doesn't happen, then we may not see episodes 4, 5, and 6 play out the way that they do. This one has none of that. There's no, well, as far as we know, there's one little maybe hint at the end of the movie that maybe like there's something bigger going on.
Yeah.
But as far as we know, like this is just a movie about Han Solo, and he gets tied up in something, and and he ends up getting out of it.
it was
And
Uncharted in space.
yeah.
It really was.
It's just a Han Solo story. It's a part of his life,
It's
something
exactly
that
what I
happened.
said it was going to be.
Yeah.
All right. I give this movie a 2.5 out of 5. Well,
me, but
yeah.
and I think 3's fine as well. With this movie, I came into it very low expectations. I didn't end up hating the movie. I had a fun time. Like, these are fun to go with my dad and like us as a group and stuff, and like that's what I had. I had fun. Here's what I will say though with this movie. There was parts when I was sitting in the theater, I think the first 30 minutes to an hour, I was kind of like looking around, like I was trying to get like drowsy. Like, I don't know, like this movie was like not doing it for me with like.
A lot of people have said that. I loved the first part, but a lot of people said they thought the beginning was boring.
I'll give you that.
I was, because here's the thing. I don't know who this woman is that, and it goes back to my main kind of thing before I saw the movie and my reservation I came in with and left with. I don't give a frick about Han Solo, like this story about his like who he is. I always just liked him in 4, 5, and 6 is like, hey, he's this bounty hunter thing. I didn't care to like go along on this adventure with him. I didn't. I don't know. That might be different to other people. They just were really into this. But this ideal I went into, like, I don't care. And so when they're like, here's the love affair or whatever, I just went, so he's either going to die or turn on this person or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only two things I can think of with this, like, woman, with this character that's love interest or whatever. Because it's like, who is this character? And he doesn't end up with her. You know what I mean? Like, we already see it. And with prequels, we've talked about this a million times before, I always want to, like, this would have been cool if, like, Han Solo showed up and he was, like, a general in this army. You know what I mean? Or a general, like, he was completely the opposite. It's like, how does he become the bounty hunter? Then it's kind of a cooler thing. But he starts out, there's no character development. He starts out of like, hey, this is me, I'm Han Solo or whatever, doing these kind of same things that you see in 4 and 5 and, and 6. Like, it didn't seem like anything happened. Like, it started the movie that way, and then it ended the movie of
I feel like maybe you're...
No spoiler there. I mean, you see him in 4, 5, and 6. Of like,
say,
he's this guy.
Low expectations. I just feel like your expectations maybe are low, but also different at the same time.
Sure. And going back on the humor thing, there is a part at the very beginning of the movie with this giant, like, eel woman or something. Like, and that part I was just like, what the frick? Like, that was when I was like, yeah, different directors came in and there was, like, stuff going on. That, like, really showed through. Yes, because she goes up and she's like, I'm gonna get you, Han Solo. Like, that's the dialogue was just laughable. And then he goes,
I wish they had done an alien voice with the subtitles.
Yeah, and he goes, well, I'm gonna get you. But you just made a clicking noise, and it's just a rock. You have a rock. And I'm like, am I watching Nickelodeon?
I don't know
That threw me off. I was watching.
Actually, like, very Han Solo.
I love that scene.
That I hated. I was just like, humor-wise, this sucks.
It was like a real reflection of the Jabba scene when I loved it. I don't know.
Hey, this may be your weekend, but you're definitely wrong.
I don't know. I respect everything you're saying. I respect that you expect different things out of a prequel, and I think that
I'm gonna get to the good stuff in a little bit, but I just want to get.
You're right. Like, I think that you're kind of deterministic though, in that like that's the only way to do a prequel, where it's completely opposite of what you'd expect. Look, I mean, you can do a prequel other ways.
That ties into my other thing I want to say, going into good. I guess. I left this movie going, it's completed. I felt like I liked 7, I liked Rogue One, I really liked Jedi and stuff, but I was starting to feel this, like, this isn't a bad thing to say or whatever, because we've talked about this before with Marvel movies and stuff. They're funs out of 10s are my reviews for the Marvel movies I've seen. They're not like the deepest thing. There's stuff that I don't really remember a lot of or whatever, but they're fun with my friends and seeing them. And I felt like this completed the arc for me with Han Solo. I came out of that went, that is a Marvel movie. This is a Marvel movie of Star Wars films. I won't remember the characters' names. I walked out there not knowing some of the names like of these characters. But I had fun, like with my dad there and stuff, and I was like, this completed the transformation from Star Wars being it's like this kind of like cultural thing to it's Marvel. It's this like cultural thing. It's been taken over by Disney and stuff. I don't hate it, but this is like transformed, and the transformation became complete with Solo. The transformation is complete, and now it is like these fun things, but
yeah. So this is just like confirmed all of my expectations pretty much.
Yeah.
For that movie, because that's been my expectations, not because I genuinely thought they would all be bad with all the new Star Wars, but it was more of like, if I get myself overhyped, I'm going to be severely.
Oh, yeah.
So like, if I going in expecting a fun out of 5, then like I've been I've like really, really enjoyed all the Star Wars movies because I've just done my best to just not expect greatness, but I really have enjoyed them a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah, for me they're 4 for 4. Like they've made 4 damn good movies. Like, and some are better than others, but I mean they have not made a turd.
Yeah,
and people act like they have made a turd or they've made several turds in a row, and people can all have their own opinion, but I don't resonate with that at all.
No, I'm with you. Yeah.
So now let me.
But I will say too. I want to say two other things. So the cinematography in this movie, maybe the best out of all of them. I mean, like the great blues and the midnight blue kind of stuff to it.
Amazing.
Yeah, that stuff was really cool, really well done. And then one other
cinematographer from Arrival.
Okay, so
that's a very good movie.
Yeah.
But here's. One cool thing is the kind of tease or something that happens at the end. Literally, like, so I said I was drowsy at certain parts of, like, kind of just not following stuff. I kind of, like, leaned up in my seat at the end because I got kind of giddy because this is something I was really into in the Star Wars universe. I'm not, like, super deep into it, but I was just like, whoa, this is freaking cool. Yeah. And, like, so that little teaser thing that happens towards the end of the movie is like, oh, my gosh. Yeah. But on the flip side of that little thing that's in there, I was more excited about than anything in the movie. So I left that going, that was awesome. But I was like, that part, I was more excited about that than seeing Han Solo doing some stuff in this movie.
Solo.
So,
it's fun.
Yeah,
it's funny how
it was fun out of 10 for me. I give it a fun out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
And it's funny because that little thing that they tease really, you said it kind of being that final thing of it becoming basically what Marvel is.
Yeah.
That was the first time, because so far these movies have been like, you got 7, which was kind of like a soft reboot. Like, it's not a reboot, but we're gonna make a New Hope basically for kids again.
Yeah.
And then you got Rogue One, which was kind of like a prequel to New Hope. And then you got 8, which was kind of like a crazy sequel. What I've been wondering is, like, when are they going to start to really make it a connected universe? Like, really try to, like, start to throw in some things that are, like, new plot lines that are with characters we know about, you know. Yeah. And this thing that they tease at the end of this, I was like, man, that is, like, something you see at the end of a Marvel movie. Yeah. Like, teasing, like, the next thing that you're like, whoa, what is this person?
This made me, like, kind of giddy, and I was putting my hand up.
I'm interested to see where they go with that thing.
Yeah.
And,
cool.
But I
can't wait.
Yeah, but hey, okay, I just want to know, all the people that said that this movie was going to be garbage, they should eat crow. And I don't know that you ever said that.
I never said it was going to be garbage,
but a lot of people said that it was going to be garbage, and it is not garbage at all.
It's not.
I didn't think that Disney would allow pure trash to come out. I think they would kind of, but there is like kind of leakings in this movie of like, you can feel, I personally felt where there was kind of disconnects and stuff, but it never like fell to the bottom. And I lived through the prequel trilogy, so no, I never got to those levels of like whatever.
Until we get another prequel, we're good, guys. I mean, I'm just saying.
So yeah, one last thing I want to talk about: Westworld, the TV show Westworld. Just real quick.
Little tidbit.
Definitely check that out. That it's on HBO. That is actually based.
Spoken ad right now.
I'm gonna do some ASMR.
You don't know.
Check out
Jeff can check that out.
Westworld. That was some ASMR. Yeah, Westworld was originally a 1970s like movie, and HBO got the rights or whatever, and they made a TV show out of it. So the first one, you kind of know, the first season is kind of building up to something. Do you guys know the premise at all? What that is?
I'm current.
Anything.
You're caught up?
Yeah, I'm caught up.
Oh, okay.
HBO for me.
Okay, well, he's wrong. Don't listen to him. Cut him out. Edit him out. So Westworld, the premise is they have made this kind of park, this Disneyland park, where you can go in and see people that it looks just like a human being, but it's robots that they control, and they have different storylines. You can like go basically what Disney's doing right now with the Star Wars park that they're about to do, but with real humans. But they have like these AI like robots. They have these robots running around, and first season really good. This second season goes off the rails because the first season you know what's kind of like they're building up to.
Yeah.
Second season's off the rails. They're off the plot line. I think you're gonna find people like kind of falling off that, like falling out because it's so out there. But I'm loving every little bit of it.
I felt like the first season was already like it was never on any rails to me. Like I mean they started out well and gave you a foundation, but like they started throwing twists and turns pretty quick.
And season 2 is
and
nuts.
then season 2 is like
and it is also another podcast that I watched was talking about this, and I totally agree. It has now been long enough. Lost has ended that now things are giving homage to it. You know what I mean? Certain stuff. Westworld has so many homage like to Lost. Yes.
That makes me want to watch.
Huge stuff to Lost.
there's a huge
There is almost like 1-to-1, like kind of like they knew what they were doing.
I think there's a spot that you're probably thinking of that.
Yeah,
I know
we're
exactly
probably
what
thinking the same spot. So absolutely
Watch it.
having such a blast with Westworld 2. That and like Leftovers kind of filled my appetite for like
Wait till season
Lost
6,
and
it'll
stuff.
become like House of Cards.
Maybe so.
The secretary has fallen. And she falls down 2 steps. Just give it a couple seasons, bud.
So yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you for watching. Oh, okay, we're gonna end on the story.
Zach fell. I'm just kidding.
That's a whole different. That's a different podcast. So
Slapjack Gabbard.
here, do you mind if I kind of give my kind of side of view of this kind of thing?
You're fine.
Okay. They don't know the story, but on the ride up here, we are. He has his phone for like GPS. He has his phone out or whatever, and we are behind. We're behind somebody, a truck. We get behind somebody on the highway, and there is a sign they have in like on the glass, like a handwritten, like a regular truck, regular pickup truck.
Okay.
And it is handwritten. So we want to read it, and we're kind of squinting. We're like getting our phones out to kind of zoom in. Like, what is this guy wrote out this like message to people behind him?
To give you an idea of what it looks like the signs that people write on cardboard when they're like homeless and standing on.
Yes.
It's like black Sharpie, bad handwriting
On the back of a
sign, and it's in the back of his passenger side window, where it is very much so probably blocking his view of the right lane. And keep in mind, he is in the left lane.
Also, another thing that's on there is a big sticker that has a cell phone with a crossed out over the cell phone.
It says cell phone free vehicle.
Cell phone free vehicle is what that says. We can read that. So we're getting kind of like closer to this guy because we're trying to read the giant paragraph he's given to passengers behind him. So we're getting closer. Kenny still has kind of his phone like held up, and I'm like, I have my phone out because I'm trying to see the guy. We see him like kind of pointing, like moving his arm, like he's getting mad. And we think somebody's in the vehicle with him. Is he mad at somebody? Whatever, like what's going on? We see him reach over and grab another piece of cardboard, and it's another sign. And as he's doing this, he's and then he reaches behind him and he puts it, like tapes it to the back of, and he's totally blocked. He's totally blocked of like looking behind him because he has a second sign.
I was going to go around him because I wanted to see if he was mad at me or if he was yelling at somebody in the truck. So I'm going to get over in the right lane, and I see him reach back, like grab this sign, and just stick it, like he wedged it in between.
So I'm gonna put in. I got the camera we're using now. I got it out. You'll be able to see the sign. I got footage. It will be in the podcast. This guy's sign. And the first sign, I should say, you'll see it or whatever. But the first sign says something like, if you have a cell phone and this vehicle doesn't have a cell phone, I could be wrong or whatever. This sign, I know the second sign. The first sign said something like we do not use cell phones, and if you're on your cell phone and you're reading this, get off.
Get the heck off your cell phone.
And an explicit language, yeah. So this second sign goes up, and as he's putting it up, I look at Kenny. I'm like, "Are you getting second signed, dude? Dude, you're getting second signed." So we kept saying that you're getting second signed. The second sign is a little bit more direct and says, if you hit me and you're using an effing telephone, then I am going to be an effing nightmare to deal with. If you hit me, I'm going to be an effing nightmare to deal with.
Sounds like this guy's been hit by somebody.
Yeah, so we were just going the whole time like, this guy seems like a joy to deal with. This guy seems, I bet.
Zach Pike is in my passenger seat behind me with this big old Sony camera zooming in and taking pictures of this guy.
So we have all these cell phones, and I kept saying, Kenny, if you hit this guy rear end him and he gets out, you should tell him, I'm sorry, I was on my cell phone. I totally apologize. I hope that's not an issue, because that's like what this guy's been praying for, somebody to hit him with a cell phone.
Full gauge, and he just.
So yeah, that's what I kept telling Kenny. I was like, back off this guy a little bit, because he has a gun, probably.
I was trying to get close to him so we could read the sign, because the second.
That's the thing too. He wants people not to have it on their cell phones, but I want to read your sign. Like, you have a paragraph sign, you're creating an issue. But so that's been our trip so far. It is almost dying, and we've been hiking and just having fun. So
Good time.
thanks for watching.
Boys.
It's getting kind of nippy out here.
It's getting a little cold, so we got.
Do you want to end with can you cannonball into the pool?
Not safely.
Not with safe for your camera.
Your camera is soaked.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab my Switch.
All right, guys. This is an honor.
Oh, I got food.
All right.
Yeah, there's.
This is a bad.
No, I don't think this is a bad idea. I think it's a good idea.
Get that, please.
No, you be good. Move. Get that before it gets washed away.
Okay. Oh my gosh, not near the car. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.